All right, it's showtime. Good evening and welcome to the June 11th Village Council meeting. Marnie, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Steve Friedman.
Here.
Councilmember Deb Gillis.
Here.
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Here.
Vice Mayor Sharon Mahoney.
Here.
And Mayor Don Horton.
I'm here.
We have a quorum.
All right, let's see. One of our favorite Marines, Matt Turk, will you lead us in the pledge, please, sir?
Absolutely. To hand of your heart, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Are there any requests for any deletions or emergency additions tonight, council? None over there, none over there. Mr. Manager, any from you?
Nope.
No, John? Jennifer? Well, it's showtime then. Let's see. Mayor and council communication. Has anybody got anything they want to talk about tonight? It'll be all quiet. Anybody? No? Once, twice? John, have you got any updates for us on anything?
Nope, not since Tuesday night, no.
Good deal. That was enough already.
I know, I spoke more than I wanted to.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Manager?
Just one update. I want to announce that we have the pool is open. I was there this afternoon. It's pretty crowded, and that next week, a week from tonight, Thursday the 18th at 5:30, the Alameda Chamber will have a ribbon cutting. So the public's welcome to attend. Once again, a week from today at 5:30 this time next week, ribbon cutting at the pool, and it came out really nice. And we've added some facilities there, and I've reviewed them today, and I think you'll be happy with the results.
Very good. Thank you so much. Well, then why don't we just go on and open up right now to public comment? Is there any public comment tonight, Ms. Marnie?
Yes, first we have Sue Miller.
Welcome, Sue.
Thank you. Sue Miller, representing the Alameda Community Alliance. Yes, her. I love Alameda. It's why I stand here. It's been my home for 45 years. I raise kids here. I have grandkids here. I care deeply about our community and the people here. I worry about our fragile environment, our limited infrastructure, our traffic, our struggling workforce, our very special parks. I care about our history, and I worry about our future. Yes, I'm here before you often, and I see the looks when I head for the microphone. I get reports of comments made by those who'd like to see me disappear. But sorry, I'm here again. I've been here a long time. I pay attention and I do research. I speak up when I think there's a better way, knowing my words often fall on deaf ears. I'm not the only one. Those who show up often and follow the decision-making carefully understand our issues. They care deeply, but are the ones most criticized and usually ignored just because we have a different idea, just because you are tired of us, just them again. Sue Miller, Joe Wishmeyer, Captain Ed, Van Cadenhead, oh good, he's gone. Ken Thomas, I hear it, sometimes repeated to me later, sometimes at the microphone. Oh, that's just the ICA, they don't like anything, they're too negative. I ask you, why is having a different idea, a new approach, or imploring you to control spending considered too negative? Those of us who show up regularly are here because we care about this community and the decisions you make. We have watched as procedures are created that seem to continually restrict public involvement, giving staff direction on critical issues with a thumbs up instead of an actual vote, so no public comment is needed, just to save you from an extra 3 or 5 minutes from Sue, Joe, or Captain Ed. Please do more to diligently encourage public comment, engage the public in critical issues, the comprehensive plan, the budget, affordable housing, traffic, growth issues. Have more informal workshops. Learn from other organizations who deal with the public. A public who prefers to fish, dive, swim, or bar hop, not sit through boring government meetings. The electric co-op, they diligently welcome members to their annual meeting, providing gifts, raffle tickets, coffee, and breakfast wraps to create a relaxed setting for conversation with neighbors, directors, and staff. Yes, they do that to get their required quorum. The village needs to encourage participation so that we can have a responsive government that reflects the thoughts and ideas of our residents. Please let us know you are listening to us. Perhaps after general public comment is closed, have an agenda item, response to public comment. There may not always be a need to respond, but often the ideas and concerns warrant a simple comment from you that shows you are listening and that you care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue. Marnie, anyone else?
Yes, Joe Wishmeyer.
Welcome, Joe. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you very much. Joe Wishmeyer, Plantation Key. Mayor and Council, for months and months now, I have been asking about the review of the wastewater, mainly about the EDU counts that will have a major impact to the amount of money that is due to the process. Many businesses have changed and lots of vacation homes have appeared. Many of them are billed as single-family homes. Any competent person can figure out a vacation rental uses much more water than a single-family home. To hear at Tuesday's meeting that the report is being held up because of the new pump station has nothing to do with the EDU counts. Please let us get along with that. It seems so simple to get the information from the Aqueduct Authority as to the water usage for all properties, like the monthly billing, and compare that number of gallons to the number of EDUs assigned to that property. I believe that the number is 157 gallons per day for each EDU. This seems like a no-brainer to help offset the rising costs of wastewater. All of this and awarding hundreds of thousands of dollars in non-compete bid contracts have added millions of dollars to our budget, which has risen from $35.8 million to $60.7 million in the last 5 years, despite property values increasing $560 million just in the last year. This is just two examples of how tax dollars are not being properly used. I didn't even mention all the overtime that we spent on the weekends to monitor the fills that we didn't even own. I bring this up because of the concern of this council about spending $27,000 on elections of council members so the residents can have a say in who we want to represent us. That number was mentioned over and over and over again. You all should be ashamed that you're trying to restrict voters' voices. Next, I find it disturbing that this council, without any public input, with a thumbs up, came to put a for sale sign by owner in front of the church property. We, the residents, the taxpayers of Islamorada, are the owners and should have a say about this and all village-owned properties. Yes, it is council, the concern over the council takings. The village may face, yet every time an administrative relief request comes up, it seems to be granted. A lot of these after being in BPAS for over 4 years, yet the properties have been sold and the new owners have recently acquired that they took over to 4 years. This practice doesn't seem fair to those residents who patiently wait their turn. This practice needs to be addressed in our new comp plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Right on time again.
Right on time. Good job.
There are no other speakers.
That's it? Is there anyone on online anywhere?
No, sir.
All right, is there anybody out there that still would like to? Mic's open. Seeing none, public comments closed. Let's see, John, let's move on to the next resolutions.
So we are into the, well, actually, let me ask, are we going into the quasi first, or are we going into what was held over from the last meeting?
Why don't we do the quasi first? And because these folks are paying their attorneys and stuff, so we can do that and then we can move on.
Okay.
We don't want to give them too many billable minutes.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, Russ.
So we're into the quasi judicial portion of the transcript, which today has 4 items. They are tabs A through D, as in Delta. Please be advised that the following agenda items are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on these items, please inform the village clerk by filling out the available sign-up form. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. As a reminder, testimony in quasi-judicial items must be in person. Zoom testimony is not permitted. These proceedings will be handled in accordance with the village code requirements. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony shall be disregarded. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record, along with the village code and comprehensive plan. Any correspondence that was received by the village staff is included in the file and part of the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures in Section 30-256 of the Village Code may be obtained from the clerk. At this time, I would like to ask anyone who intends to speak on the quasi-judicial items tonight to please raise your hand to be sworn in by the clerk.
In the matter in which you are about to give testimony, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? The witnesses have been sworn.
Mr. Mayor, tab A is a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, concerning the request by Russell A. Yeagle Esquire, agent for owner Seth Ellington, for administrative relief from the Village Building Permit Allocation System for property located at 183 East Ridge Road, Plantation Key, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for transmittal to the Department of Commerce and providing for an effective date. Before we begin, Council, I would like for you to please disclose any ex parte communications you may have had with the applicant or anyone else. This is on tab A, and if you recall, please include specifics about the person or entity, as well as the substance matter, to the best as you recall.
Thank you, John. Let's see, do you have any
Just with staff.
with staff? Deb?
None.
Anna? None. Sharon?
None.
All right, I called the previous planning director and asked a question about this, and they spoke to staff.
Which planning director? So
Ty Harris.
we are ready to go.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Council. Jennifer DeBobrian, Planning Director for the Village of Islamorada. I'm here this evening for the administrative relief application for 183 East Ridge Road. Russell A. Yeagle, Esquire, on behalf of the owner Seth Ellington, has applied for administrative relief from the village's building permit allocation system pursuant to Section 30-477 of the Code of Ordinances. Village Code Section 30-477 requires that a public hearing be held during which the Village Council shall consider all evidence presented regarding the application and shall follow the procedures, standards, and criteria found within Code Sections 30-552 Beneficial Use Determination and 30-553 Procedures, Standards, and Criteria for Relief. The applicant has the burden of establishing a need for relief. The subject property is located at 183 East Ridge Road and legally described in Exhibit A of the proposed resolution. The application was entered into the BPAS system on January 31st, 2022. The application has been considered in 4 consecutive annual allocation periods and has failed to receive an allocation award. At the close of Q1 of 2026, the application was ranked 37th with 10 points. Pursuant to the requirements set forth in Code Section 30-477A, the applicant was eligible to apply for administrative relief between 12:01 p.m. and April 1st, 2026, on April 1st, 2026, and 12 p.m. on July 1st, 2026. The applicant submitted the application for administrative relief on April 1st, 2026. The proposed development is a single-family home containing 1 bedroom and 1.5 baths, approximately 1,083 square feet of living area. The application site is approximately 15,410 square feet with permitted clearing and associated mitigation subject to habitat-based regulations. The full analysis of the application is in your packet. An additional information provided by the applicant is that the property owner has complied with all requirements of the building permit allocation system. The BPAS application has not been withdrawn at any time, and the property owner has not applied for a deferral, and the applicant, as stated, is seeking an allocation and award. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Village Council may take any or a combination of the following actions. 1, grant the applicant an allocation award for all or part of the allocation requested in the next succeeding allocation period, offer to purchase the property at its fair market value, or suggest such other relief as may be necessary and appropriate. Currently, the village has 6 allocations available for administrative relief, and at this time, staff recommends awarding the administrative relief allocation.
Very good, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's see, why don't we go on and open up testimony and for
Mr.
those.
Yeagle has the opportunity.
Oh, I'm
to
sorry,
speak.
Russ.
Good evening, Council. Russell Yeagle on behalf of the applicant Seth Ellington, who's sitting in the audience with his father, Don. This relates to 183 Ridge Road. In an effort to keep my client's fees and costs down.
Thank you so
I
much.
don't think there's a lot to say. I believe staff has done an adequate report. They've recommended he be granted an allocation, and we would respectfully request that you grant that allocation. If there's any questions you have, we will gladly answer them for you.
Very good. Thank you, Russ. I have several, but we can, well, we can start off now, if y'all are okay with that. Russ, the application that I saw mentioned that, hang on a second, let me turn to it. The application that was submitted to the village speaks of 183 East Ridge Road, but it gives a real estate number of 00412230 with no split out. That I see, that's not actually 183 East Ridge Road. East Ridge Road is the property adjacent to that, more towards the ocean, right?
I saw reference to that, Mayor, and I'm confused myself. I went and looked again on the property appraiser's record for the parcel. So I have always seen it referred to 183 East Ridge Road,
Yeah.
but the parcel is for that parcel that's that spit of land that's undeveloped and extends outward.
And that's what the application is for.
Yes.
Okay, and so the application has nothing to do with the actual address of 183 East Ridge Road or real estate number 00412140 with no split out. Is that correct?
I believe that's correct.
So I don't understand why the resolution has two other real estate numbers, one that doesn't even show up on the property appraiser's records, and one that actually references a vacant residential lot that's a platted lot on East Ridge Road. Am I correct?
Yeah, the one that doesn't appear, I believe, is because there was a lot combination, and then that was the former, the former real estate parcel ID that got merged into that. So
So is that mean that what, there used to be three, then what we're talking about is three separate pieces of property, and two of them have been combined, and that would be the one that was the road and one that was the spit? And are we even talking about then the actual 183 East Ridge Road, which is the address for the vacant residential platted lot?
That's what was in the application. So we're addressing it based upon the application. I'll have to check
So if you
if
look
there's
at,
even an address for the vacant lot.
if you look at the property appraiser's records, there's actually two real estate numbers associated with Mr. Ellington that's there. I mean, there's several others as well, but for some reason, this resolution is reflecting one real estate number that doesn't even exist, and it's reflecting another real estate number that apparently is not part of this application. Am I correct in assuming that?
Well, the reason that those three are included in the resolution is if you look, I don't have a page number on this, but there is a notice of approval of lot combination, and it combines, that notice of approval has three parcel IDs in it. And those are the same parcel IDs that are listed in the resolution. So those,
But then when I look at the notice of approval for lot combination, I'm looking at what was a private road, or that's what they call it in the legal description as a private road. And then I'm also looking at some submerged land, and I'm also looking at some sovereign filled lands. Nothing to do with lot 1A, with the actual adjacent lot, which would have been lot 1, actually.
I believe it's Lot
Yes.
2,
Same.
Mayor. Yeah, and the client advises.
Lot
that-
2 has the house on it.
Okay, I'm sorry, then it is Lot 1.
It is Lot 1. It's
The
it's
client-
Lot 1 of Toner Nautical Shores. That's the vacant residential lot that's platted in Toner Nautical Shores.
Right, the client advises the vacant lot is actually 185 East Ridge Road. And in fact, the one we're seeking is 183, which the RE plat number seems to be correct. I guess the confusion is what is the address
Correct.
assigned by the Postal Service?
Correct.
Yeah. Jennifer pulled up the property appraiser's website, and the real estate, or the parcel ID numbers are the ones for this, this.
So is lot 1 of Toner Nautical Shores part of this application?
I'd have to look at the plat to see
No,
which one's lot one.
I do not believe it is.
It is not?
No.
So it's the unplatted piece of property of Toner Nautical Shores that's part of that is the only
Yes.
piece of property that we're looking at
Yes.
for this application?
Yes.
We are looking at, it is not platted with a lot number. It was platted, yes, the area
It was platted as what?
I believe it was referenced as a park and a road.
A park and a road.
Right.
So what we're doing is we're talking about wanting to violate our own code and establish some new development right on a unplatted piece of property.
I don't believe that's the case, Mayor, because I don't believe it would have been accepted into B-Pass if it got qualified, or if it was not qualified to be built on.
It's not a platted lot. It actually, in fact, in the information it's given to us specifically says a private road north of adjacent to Lot 1, and then it talks about Phil Bait Bottom, and then it talks about submerged wetland.
Well,
And those are the 3 parcels that are associated with this application.
understood, but
Okay.
at some point, the village acknowledged it was a lot because it accepted a lot combination application and ultimately accepted it as a lot with the legal description that was attached with the notice of approval.
The legal
And in
description, it
reliance of-
says a private road?
The legal description references it as a private road, but that doesn't make it a lot. Or
No, it
mean it's
doesn't
not
make it
a lot.
You're right.
It is a lot by virtue of the fact it's been acknowledged as a lot. It was platted on the plat,
Okay.
and the village treated it as a lot when it did a lot combination application and approved it, Mayor. And so if it wasn't a lot, then why did the village approve it and say, now you have a lot and we've combined these together and accept it in the B-Pass? And I mean, the village is an institution. I'm not referring to you all individually, but as an institution, these rights were given, they were acknowledged, and then he was allowed to go into B-Pass as a lot and expend the money to get this far down the road. And so it would not be fair to this applicant, who's an innocent purchaser for value, to suddenly be said, well, you really didn't qualify from the beginning. And so we think, to the extent that argument is made, it is a lot. It has been acknowledged as a lot. And in fact, the village said, we're going to combine multiple parcels and make it a single lot.
Okay, thank you. Anna, you have anything else to say? Vice Mayor?
To me,
Plat?
this went on with someone who was previously on council, who got the lots combined when that was a park. That's what I have a problem with. It was a park. And I don't know who let that slide through, but to me, that was a mistake from the get-go. And I know this poor gentleman's bought it thinking he could do that, but wasn't even platted. It's a park. I agree with Don.
But counsel, the sins of the past can't come back to haunt my client.
I understand.
And, you know, by all accounts, when this was researched and we find and we look through the records and the village has said, there's a lot, okay? And so I understand the prior owner that could be controversial at times.
It has nothing to, I didn't know who the other was. It had nothing to do with that.
But it's, you know, the reality and the truth is that as an institution, this has been acknowledged as a lot. It was allowed to go into B-Pass, and it's gotten this far. And so if it wasn't a lot, that should have been decided the day the application for a lot combination came in, and they should have said, this doesn't qualify as a lot. But they didn't. And here we are today with a lot that has gone through the proper procedures and avenues to seek administrative relief.
Gotcha.
It's our fault.
Well, and throughout the county, there are other parcels that are referenced as a park on a platted subdivision that have been sold off and have been built on as residential. So this is not this is a first-time thing. There are many other ones throughout the county that are like that. So,
That were platted as a park and then recognized as a lot of record.
correct.
I haven't ever seen that. Folks over on my right side, any comments, any questions? No? Okay,
Not at this time.
okay. Jennifer, you have anything else to add?
None at this time.
Okay. Thank you, council. I appreciate it. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak in favor of this application?
Have no one signed up in favor.
All right, very good. Then that's closed. Is there anybody that would like to speak in opposition of this application?
Yes, first would be Sue Miller.
Okay.
Sue Miller, yes, her again. Lower Matacumbe Key, representing the Alamorada Community Alliance. This property has been in the BPAS system 4 years, making it eligible for administrative relief, but the owner just bought it in 2025. Shouldn't our code be changed so we rewrite the comp plan and LDRs to require 4-year clock resets when a property on the list is sold? Why do we create resale value just for a position on the BPAS list? According to the subdivision plat, a portion of the subject lot is listed as a park with another portion as a 20-foot easement for access to the park. The widest portion of the jetty is hardly wide enough with setbacks for the proposed stilled home of 1 bedroom. I don't think there was ever any intent to build a stilled home on that lot, interfering with the view from the owner's own primary home and the home of adjoining neighbors. If you give away this valuable BPAS allocation, you will be increasing the value of the building right as a waterfront TDR, now worth somewhere around $500,000 to $700,000 on the open market. How in the world did this park property and its 20-foot access easement ever get on the BPAS list as a platted lot to begin with? Could it have been the influence of the owner 4 years ago? Could it have been because when asked to verify the title, the property owner at the time, an attorney, provided his own legal opinion of title? Probably a serious conflict of interest. This council has consistently provided an allocation when you hold administrative relief hearings, even though you have other options. This case should be different. There are a total of 6 administrative relief allocations remaining and no market rate allocations. 38 market rate applicants on the BPAS list. A majority are eligible for administrative relief. About 20 have waited just as long as this property and much longer than this property owner. Those 16 administrative relief allocations should be used carefully by the village. A potential takings at 183 Eastridge Road? I don't think so. The property in question is contiguous to other properties purchased together by this owner. This property already has a significant use, boat dockage. The market value of the property is listed by the county property appraiser as $98,039, with 75% of the value being the improvements, a use that already exists, only permitted and allowed by our code because it is adjacent to the owner's home. And think about the 38 property owners on the BPAS list and others who also want to build on vacant lots in the future. Will they have compelling takings claims? I checked the market value of the other 37 properties on the BPAS list. Average is just under $400,000 for vacant lots on the list, a scary number if you worry about takings. Action by the village council can be to grant the application and allocation award, the allocation award in the next succeeding allocation period. Do we have another one? Offer to purchase the property at fair market value. Suggest other relief that may be necessary and appropriate. The village should either deny the administrative relief as not necessary, as the owner has a significant use of the property. We strongly support purchasing the property at just market value listed by the property appraiser is $98,000 to return the park and park access easement so it can be returned to its original intended public use based on the designation on the plat map, providing a public benefit. Save valuable administrative relief for more appropriate situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Marnie, are there any other speakers?
Yes. Next up is Joe Wishmeyer.
Joe Wishmeyer, Plantation Key. Well, I hate following her because she kind of hits on all the points that I was going to make. But just as a reference, to remember this, many, many years ago, I remember when this first came up, and there was a big to-do when the previous owner blocked the road to get to the park because he thought it would interfere with his property. There was other occasions on things that he did that were going to interfere with his property too. I don't think that we ought to award, I think that we ought to go back to the private road and the park and give the public access to it like it was intended from the beginning. I also heard the attorney here mention that maybe that's not that address is 183, maybe it's 185, which would mean that everything that you have would be actually incorrect on the application. So considering all this, I would respectfully request that you deny the applicant. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Marnie, are there any other speakers?
No, sir.
All right, hearing that, then the public speaking is closed. Russ, would you like to wrap up with anything, or should I go to Jennifer first? It's your pleasure.
You can go to Jennifer first.
Thank you. Jennifer?
I don't have anything additional at this time.
Okay.
Mayor, I do just want to point out, actually, the property card shows the address is 183. So I don't know where that confusion, it may be from the prior approval. I understand, as is frequently at these meetings, people have a lot of different reasons that they say you all shouldn't do things. But the reality is your code has a defined set of items that say this is what you consider. And it's not whether we like the prior owner or not, or these types of things. Staff has recommended the granting of an allocation. My client paid good money for this. He's an honest man. He's a purchaser. If people don't like the fact that this can be done, that's for a different meeting and maybe a code change. But it's not a reason to deny it here. And so I would respectfully again ask that you grant my client an allocation for administrative relief. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. I want to read in the record what it says here on this legal description after lot combination, because the lot combination is only for 3 pieces of property. And it says the quote-unquote private road north of adjacent Lot 1, Toner Nautical Shores, is shown on the plat thereof and recorded in Plat Book 4 and page 36 of the public record of Monroe County, Florida. Less than accepting thereof, the parcel of land being a part of a 20-foot wide quote-unquote private road shown on the plat of Toner Nautical Shores, recorded in the Plat Book 4, page 36 of the public records of Monroe County, Florida. Said road being adjacent to the abutting and southerly line of Lot 23, Block 1 of the plat of Plantation Ridge, recorded in Plat Book 3 of page 43 of the public records. So this is telling me that we are being asked to look at constructing a single-family residential unit on a quote-unquote private road. A parcel A, which is part of the lot combination, is a parcel of filled sovereign land in the Atlantic Ocean abutting Section 24, Township 3, South, Range 37 East, and Section 19, Township 63 South, Range 38 East, Plantation Key, Monroe County, Florida, being more particularly described as follows, and it goes on to give a meets and bounds description of the sovereign filled land. And then the last parcel is a parcel of submerged land. So we know we can't build on a parcel of submerged land. And it looks to me by this description that we are being asked to approve an allocation on a piece of filled land that was not part of a plat of a subdivision as far as being a platted lot, because it's a private road and filled sovereign land. So and I believe, Jennifer, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but our code specifically states that we should not create more building rights other than those that are already, there. I guess that means platted lots in my mind. I don't know.
Yes, in certain zoning districts, we cannot create additional lots that didn't exist prior to 1986.
Okay. All right. Well, council, what's your pleasure? Do I have a motion to approve this administrative relief application?
I'll make a motion to approve the administrative relief.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Marty, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
No.
Vice Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
No.
And Mayor Don Horton?
No.
That motion fails 3-2.
All right, what's next on the agenda?
Well, we do need to address the application because there are other options under administrative relief. You can award the relief in its entirety, or I don't have the code provision pulled up in front of me,
I think
but
we all remember the
or you can
four
offer to
items.
purchase it for fair market value, and then there's kind of that catch-all where it says you can offer something
Or something
as,
else?
as necessary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sharon, your mic's on.
I say we buy it for the
You want to get
people
it
in the
appraised
neighborhood.
and see what the value is? Okay.
I
I'd
read
be
it was
amenable to
90
that.
Excuse me?
I would be amenable to that.
So you want to make that motion then?
Well, don't they have a say? In- If they
this
want
is
to
your
The relief, I would like to make a point if I could, Mayor.
You can.
I
Please
would
do.
like to address
Please.
what you referenced. As you well know, a plat is recorded many years ago, and it gets words put on it. But it doesn't mean that's what it will forever be. That is not a park, and that is not a private roadway anymore. You know, we issued the title insurance on that property. It is owned by my client. It is not owned subject to the rights of the public to use the road or to use a park. They have fee title, no different than any other parcel of land in this city. So I do want to make that clear. And I was about to ask, and I believe your counsel advised you, so are we being denied administrative relief, or are you offering some other?
Well, I think that's the next, guess that's the next item, and I think I'm about to have a motion to something. What's your
I was going to
mic
make
on?
a motion to buy it and give it back to the neighborhood.
So
that it
we
was
need to
meant
get it appraised at market value to see if we went to do that. Is
Yes.
that right, John?
Yeah, so what I would recommend would be a motion to defer or continue this item to give us the ability to get an appraisal so that you all can see what the fair market value is, and then you can make a determination as to if you would like to make an offer to purchase it for that price.
Okay.
What he said.
And if we make the offer to purchase, the client has the right to turn it down, correct?
That's correct. They're not obligated to accept it,
Right.
yes.
And just a point of order, I mean, we just made an action, right?
Yeah.
So
If
what
this
are we
passes, you will.
deferring then?
Well, the action, so
We
we
just
don't know.
voted on an action.
Well, you didn't vote on an action, you voted down a motion. That doesn't, that's not necessarily, like, we didn't deny.
So we
the-
can then make a motion to defer pending
A different
appraisal.
outcome, a different outcome.
an appraisal, and then we can come back and revisit.
Yes, yeah. And that way you guys can find out how much it is, and you'll see if you have an appetite for the amount. Yeah.
I would make that motion.
You make the second. She made the motion.
I'll make that second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on the table. Marty, will you call the roll?
Vice Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
No.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
I mean, you can make the appraisal, I don't care, but I don't think you can afford it.
That's a yes or no?
Sure, yes.
And Mayor Don Horton?
Yes.
That
So,
motion
Mayor, to be-
passes 4-1.
Just to be clear, the deferral is the decision on what relief is going to be offered, meaning at the next meeting, we could request again that you grant us an allocation. Is that correct? The whole issue of what administrative relief will be provided is now being deferred until you get an appraisal. Is that a fair?
I believe that's a fair statement, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Marty, what's the next item?
The next item is tab B. It's a resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, considering the request by CBT Construction, agent for owner Ray Vaughn, for administrative relief from the village building permit allocation system for property located at 207 Pearl Ave, Plantation Key, as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for transmittal to the Department of Commerce and providing for an effective date. Again, council, before we begin, if you will please advise of any ex parte communications you may have had, including the names of the person or entity and the substance of the conversation.
Steve?
None.
Deb?
None, except the emails that we received.
Thank you so much. Anna?
Just the emails.
Sharon?
Emails.
Just the emails.
And the emails are in the record,
They
so
are in
they're
there,
accessible if anybody would like them.
Correct.
We are ready to begin.
Thank you, Council. Jennifer DeBoer, Planning Director for the Village of Islamorada. I'm here tonight for the administrative relief application for 207 Pearl Ave. CBT Construction and Development, Inc., on behalf of owner Ray Vaughn, has applied for administrative relief from the Village of Islamorada's building permit allocation system pursuant to Section 30-477 of the Code of Ordinances. Village Code Section 30-477 requires that a public hearing be held during which the Village Council shall consider all evidence presented regarding the application and shall follow the procedures, standards, and criteria found within Code Section 30-552, Beneficial Use Determination, and 30-553, Procedures, Standards, and Criteria for Relief. The applicant has the burden of establishing a need for relief. The subject property is located at 207 Pearl Ave and is legally described in Exhibit A of the proposed resolution. The application was entered into BPAS on November 1st, 2021. The application has been considered in 4 consecutive annual allocation periods and has failed to receive an allocation award. At the close of quarter 4 of 2025, the application was ranked 11th with 19 points. Pursuant to the requirements set forth in Code Section 30-477A, the applicant was eligible to apply for administrative relief between 12:01 p.m. on January 1st, 2026 and 12 p.m. on May 1st, 2026. The applicant submitted the application for administrative relief on April 30th, 2026. The proposed development is a single-family home containing 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and approximately 1,855 square feet of living area. The site is approximately 5,500 square feet with permitted clearing and associated mitigation subject to habitat-based regulations. A full analysis is in your packet. And additional information provided by the applicant is that the property owner has complied with all the requirements of the building permit allocation system. The BPAS application has not been withdrawn at any time. The property owner has not applied for a deferral, and the applicant, as stated, is seeking an allocation award. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Village Council may take any or a combination of the following actions. Grant the applicant an allocation award for all or part of the allocation requested in the next succeeding allocation period. Offer to purchase the property at its fair market value, or suggest other such relief as may be necessary and appropriate. The village currently has 6 allocation awards available for administrative relief, and at this time, staff recommends awarding the administrative relief application.
Thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone here to speak on this for this application? All right. Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this application?
I have no one signed up for this.
Welcome, Matt is standing up. Come on up, Matt.
Sorry. Matt Turk, Village of Islamorada, CBT Construction. I wasn't going to say anything, but seeing the way the other one went, I'm going to speak on behalf of, the owner went through the process. We've got a set of rules. Obviously, hopefully this one's a plotted plat. I haven't done all the homework on that one. But if they've gone through their period and we wrote the rules and they've gotten that and the planning director's advising for it, this is somebody that's going to live here locally. So I'd advise giving the permit.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this application? All right. Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition of this application?
I have no one signed up for it.
One more shot at it. All right, that's fine. Jennifer, you have anything to close with?
I do not.
Very good. What's the pleasure of the council?
Just one quick question, kind of related to the last one, because there were letters that were received Are those, they're just part of the record? We don't mention whether they're in favor or not?
Yeah, because they're not sworn testimony, so under the standards, they wouldn't be considered competent substantial evidence
Okay.
as just unsworn testimony.
Okay, thanks.
Deb,
I was going to make a motion to approve.
is there anyone else that would like to make any more discussion? Okay, hearing none. Deb?
I make a motion to approve.
Anna?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Marnie, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
And Mayor Don Horton.
Yes.
That motion passes 5-0.
Awesome. All right, moving right along. Tab C.
So C and D are companion items. One is a map and the other one's a zoning. Historically, we have taken those together. Just wanted to confirm that that's something that you all would continue to like to do.
Yes, we can do them together.
Okay.
I have no problem with that.
All right.
Council, you okay with that? Okay, we're all nodding heads.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
perfect. So
Let's
I will
go
read
for
them
it.
separately for the benefit of those in the audience. They'll be read separately, they'll be considered together, but there'll be separate votes on each ordinance. First ordinance, tab C, is an ordinance of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, considering the request of James S. Lapino Esquire, agent for Mao Robert E. Florida Residence Trust, and Mao Kathy G. Florida Residence Trust, to amend the village's future land use map from residential high to residential medium for the subject property on Old Highway located on Upper Matacumbe Key with real estate number 000962-40-000000 and 00096240-000100, as legally described herein, providing for the transmittal of this ordinance to the State Department of Commerce and providing for an effective date upon the approval of this ordinance by the State Department of Commerce. D is an ordinance of Islamorada Village of Islands, Florida, concerning the request of James S. Lapino Esquire, agent for Mao Robert E. Florida Residence Trust, and Mao Kathy G. Florida Residence Trust, to amend the official zoning map from multifamily to settlers residential for the subject property on Old Highway located on Upper Matacumbe Key with real estate number 00096240-000000 and 00096240-000100, as legally described herein, providing for the transmittal of this ordinance to the State Department of Commerce and providing for an effective date upon the approval of this ordinance by the State Department of Commerce. Council, if you'll please disclose any ex parte communications, including the name of the person or entity, the specific subject matter to the best you recall, and to the extent any of that was different between C and D, please advise if one related to only.
All right,
one
Steve?
of-
Only staff on C and D.
All right, Deb?
Nobody besides staff.
Anna?
Casey Dooley, on behalf of the Mows, just regarding the zoning and coming to the village to try to get it corrected.
Very good. Sharon?
No one.
I haven't spoken to anyone about that, but just for full disclosure, I've known Bob and Kathy since 2005. I was their construction manager on their residence that they built, that actually Dooley, Casey and his dad built on that beautiful piece of property, and I know ultimately, I'm very familiar with this piece of property. So there is no communication with any of them.
Okay. And based on that, is there any reason to believe you couldn't adjudicate this fair
None at all.
and impartially?
None at all.
Perfect.
Okay, thank
We are
you.
ready to go.
Staff?
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. The applicant, James Lapino Esquire, on behalf of the property owners, Mao Robert E. Florida Residence Trust and Mao Kathy G. Florida Residence Trust, has submitted a map amendment application requesting an approval for a future land use map amendment for residential high to residential medium on the subject properties located at 80839 Old Highway, comprising of approximately 2.75 acres of land. The current use of the property is residential, with a single-family residential home, pool, and other hardscaping located on the property. The Flum Amendment has a companion application for a zoning map amendment, which proposes a change from multifamily district to settlers residential district, and the Flum Amendment cannot be approved without approval of the companion zoning map amendment. The applicant's agent has submitted a needs analysis detailing the map amendment requests. This item was heard at the May 18th, 2026 LPA meeting and received a unanimous recommendation for approval. To summarize, there was a lot combination where they went from 4 lots to 2 lots. And in that process, it was missed that the properties being combined had 2 different zonings, which were settlers residential and multifamily. The Settlers Residential Zoning District has fewer permitted uses than multifamily, and the residential medium flum has less allowable density than the residential high flum. And from my communication with the owner's agent, the current owners have no anticipation or desire to build any multifamily structures. They wish to continue with the single-family use. There is no budget impacts with this application. There are no staff impacts with this application, and staff recommends approval.
Very good. Let's see. Is there any questions of staff at this moment? No? Any conversation? No? Okay, except those two. Okay, that's quite all right. So I got a question. So staff already did a lot combination on this?
Yes.
And you combined different zoning pieces of property together?
It was overlooked during that process. Normally, it would be handled all together, so that's why you're hearing it separately from the lot combination.
How long ago was that, did that take place?
I want to say about a year. I can find the dates.
It was between 6 months and a year ago. It was a newer staff member that was just starting with the village that overlooked it, and Daniel and I caught it after the fact.
Okay. I see you standing. Is there anyone would like to speak in favor of this application?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Rob Stober on behalf of James Lapino for the Mouse. I think this is a pretty straightforward issue, but I'm here, Casey Dooley is here, and we can answer any questions that anyone has.
Thank you, Rob.
Was I shorter than Mr. Yeagle?
I love it. You know what? Yeah, but you sat longer, so Bob and Kathy are still going to owe more than you than him. Still not fair. All right, thank you. Is there anyone that would like to otherwise speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition of this application? All right, Jennifer, do you have anything, or do you have anything to follow up with, Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, council, what's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
I'll second the motion to approve on the Flume land change. We have to do that
You want to do
first.
the?
The first one.
The flum
The first
first,
one, yeah.
okay. So we've got a motion and a second to approve the flum amendment. Marty, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Ann Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
And Mayor Don Horton.
Yes, now can I have a
Motion passes 5-0.
motion to approve the zoning amendment?
Motion to approve the zoning amendment.
Very
And I'll
good.
second.
There's a motion and a second. Marty, will you call the roll?
Councilmember Ann Richards?
Yes.
Councilmember Deb Gillis?
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sharon Mahoney?
Yes.
And Mayor Don Horton.
Yes,
The motion passes 5-0.
good deal. All right, we have one more.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Rob. Have a great night.
Good evening.
We have one more item that we need to tackle, which was a leftover from Tuesday night meeting, tab 4. So will you read that into the record, John?
Yep, tab 4 from Tuesday's meeting that was deferred or continued till today. A resolution of the Village Council of Islamorada, Village of Islands, Florida, approving the final ranking and recommendation for the RFP 26-03 Evaluation Committee for selection of a contractor for on-demand electric vehicle ride-sharing services. Authorize the village manager and village attorney to negotiate an agreement for the services. Authorize the village manager to execute the agreement. Authorize the village manager to expend budgeted funds, and providing an effective date.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think we got a presentation from Peter in the flesh, well, part of his flesh, tonight. So, Peter, it's your show.
Yes, okay. Well, good evening, council. Sorry for my appearance. I did have a little bicycle accident on over the weekend, Saturday morning. So, a little road rash, but getting better every day, and I'm going to be fine. So,
Well, we're glad you're healing and we're
All
glad
right.
you're good. So, we're
Thank
glad
you.
you're here in person.
I'm glad to be here.
Good deal. Yep.
Okay. Right.
I know,
Okay,
I know.
yeah.
Looks are deceiving, as they say.
All right, so ride sharing. Yes, here we go. Thank you for the introduction. So the village, as you probably remember, did begin an electric vehicle ride sharing service. It was a pilot program in downtown Islamorada that was back in 2018. And at first we just utilized those golf cart style vehicles. But since the village has expanded it, the on-demand ride-sharing services program, due to its popularity and desire to provide services to the entire village. So the services currently in place utilizing Freebie, as you all know, are 2 Tesla Y vehicles and an electric van that can accommodate a wheelchair. So those 3 vehicles operate between the hours of 7 a.m. and 12 a.m. Monday through Sunday, so it's 357 hours a week, and that's 7 days a week. So the agreement with the current provider, that is Freebie, is nearing completion at the end of June. And at present, the Village Council does desire to consider other on-demand services, other demand service vehicle ride-sharing services for potential cost savings. So here we are with a new request for proposals. And it was on March 12th, 2026, that the village did issue RFP, or request for proposals, 26-03. That solicited proposals from qualified proposers to provide a village-wide on-demand ride-sharing service program utilizing electric vehicles. So the village did receive a total of only 2 proposals in response to that RFP. To evaluate the proposals, an evaluation committee was established by our village manager. And the 2 response proposals were reviewed and scored by the committee in a publicly noticed meeting that was on April 27th of 2026. So there was a maximum of 100 points available for the scoring per committee member. There were 5 committee members total, so thus there was a total of 500 points available for the scoring. And the committee did rank the proposals, and this is the scoring as follows according to the criteria and the point system provided in the RFP. So Be Free LLC, which does business as Freebie, I'm just going to go with Freebie, everyone's more familiar with that. Freebie scored 474 points. Again, that's out of 500. Circuit Transit, the other proposer, scored 398 points. So that was 75 points more for Freebie. The average difference was very synchronous between the people on the evaluation committee. And again, we did not discuss anything because of the cone of silence. It was a very synchronous, about a 15-point difference in favor of Freebie over Circuit. So adoption of the proposed resolution would approve the ranking of the RFP 2603 Evaluation Committee, and that being the recommended selection of Freebie to conduct the services, and it does also authorize the village manager to enter into an agreement with Freebie. The proposed cost or annual cost for the services is $530,000, which is slightly less than the current agreement with Freebie of $553,000, and we would again be utilizing the village's transportation fund to cover those costs. And as you all know, we do have a grant. 50% of that costs are covered through an FDOT Public Transportation Service grant. And finally, staff are recommending the adoption of the proposed resolution and the acceptance of Freebie for these services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Okay.
Let's see, where do we go from here?
Mr. Mayor, just real
Yes.
quick, I just wanted to thank staff for their work on this. I noticed in their minutes, it was about a 4-hour meeting or so going over the proposals, and just appreciate your extra work on this.
100%.
Excellent. Okay.
Are there any questions of staff at this moment from council? No? Okay. Is there any public comment that I guess I should ask for at this moment? Is there any public comment? Marnie?
Yes, first up is Sue Miller.
Okay.
Sue Miller, Lower Matacumbe Key, representing the Islamorada Community Alliance. Our organization does support having a rideshare service. We are here tonight with this added on agenda item because of Freebie's concern about the validity of the Islamorada Community Alliance research into the impact of their rideshare proposal. Suggesting our comments could be misleading. We stand by our comments, our calculations, and our concerns. We're extremely proud of the research we do to educate the public and sometimes the staff and council about directions the village takes in taxpayer funding and how taxpayer funding is spent. We emailed the village, the email the village received from Freebie was important as it actually confirmed the calculations we provided that the actual price to the village of this service quoted in the proposal will be $665,000 come July 1st if approved tonight, a significant increase from the $553,000 current price. Yes, they provided $135,000 in guaranteed credits back to the village for money they will be collecting. They used their high rider numbers as a selling point when they claim they are at risk in the rider number if the rider numbers fall by more than 18,000 rides in the coming year. It made us smile that they contended the information we provided to several thousand of our local readers may be misleading. And then they confirmed the numbers we used, but provided quotes allegedly from our newsletter showing our claims versus their facts. 7 out of the 8 quotes were misquoted, exaggerated just for enhanced drama. How misleading is that? And so we stick by our numbers and theirs. The contract price in our agreement with Freebie would be increased from the current $530,330 to $665,000, over $100,000 contract price increase. And then the village gets credit for a $2 ride fee. What the village formulated to save taxpayers more than $100,000 on current statistics, but instead, Freebie upped their cost by $100,000. We just hope that whoever negotiates the contract understands these technical calculations and that a special call meeting can be scheduled so council can approve the contract and all its complexities before the July 1 start. Monroe County contracted with Freebie a couple years ago, a contract negotiated when Monroe County had a professional transit expert, Richard Clark. This county contract and their RFP that was issued should have been such an excellent guide for us, and it still can be as we venture into charging of a fee. We hope that the village contract, like the one negotiated by Monroe County with Freebie, is for 1 year with the right to renew for an additional year. That way, it provides for amendments if government funding restrictions go into effect. We hope that the contract, like the Monroe County contract, provides for ongoing amendments to improve service with FDOT approval, knowing FDOT wants their funding used to the very best advantage. And very critical, we hope that the village can assure that the services contracted are carefully monitored to ensure that the riders and the taxpayers are getting their very best service according to the contract, and that invoices for rider hours are carefully calculated based on dashboard documentation. Freebie sure knows the village doesn't check their service hours now and seems to take advantage of that. Freebie is required by contract to have 3 vehicles in service 17 hours a day, minus charging time and driver breaks. We reviewed the rider records provided for last Friday. Looking at each of the 17 hours, we only found 5 hours out of 17 when 3 vehicles provided pickups. Particularly concerning were the lunch and dinner hours when there were the largest number of riders and only 2 vehicles and huge wait times. No numbers available yet for how many trips were canceled, not wanting to wait. 122 trips in a 17-hour period. Most riders would have had a trip both to and from, so that means 60 rides to and from. Few trips had multiple riders. We can do better. These are the type of facts the Islamorada Community Alliance is proudly documenting, and we hope it helps you all in making decisions and improving the service our local government provides. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue. Marnie, is there anyone else?
Yes, Joe Wishmeyer.
Very good, Joe.
I get beat before I even start.
Well, no, that was Sue, and she was way under the gun. Thank you, Sue.
Yes, Joe Wishmeyer, Plantation Key. You know, I'd like to talk about some personal experiences with Freebie. I've had some company come down, especially around spring breaks and all, and I know sometimes they couldn't get it. They were told they were going to have to wait over 45 minutes. Driving them to where they wanted to go, there was some cars, and there was a car in the parking lot, in the charging lot. So if we do approve this, which I do hope that we do continue with this, because I know there's a lot of people in this community that depend on Freebie who do not have vehicles or are disabled, and they use it on a regular basis. So I would hope that we would continue with it, but in providing for the new contract, I would suggest in there you have certain amount of wait times, like if they not to exceed. If there's a problem, they're either going to have to get another vehicle or find another way, or if it becomes so busy. So I would hope that you would do that. I, for one, was very confused when I know last year we were at $550-something thousand, and they said we were going to save money. It was only going to be $530, and I'm like, oh, that's great. And then we're going to get $2 per ride. That's going to bring it down. And then they're going to do advertising, so that's going to bring it down even more. I was unaware of the fact that, no, the $530 was after they deducted the $130,000 that they were going to get. So I guess another question is, when you apply for the grant, is the grant going to be half of $530,000, or is it going to be half of the $680-something thousand? That would be another thing to consider, because if that's what it's going to say in the contract and we get half the contract, then that's what we should get. And I'm not sure how much the grant money will go for that. I don't know if they go above the 550. So these are things to consider. So even though you may approve it tonight, I would hope that before there's any contracts, it would come before the public and we can air out our differences. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Marty, are there any other speakers?
We have Jason Spiegel on Zoom. Let me get him here. I am not able to give him permission to speak. I don't know if it's because he's an attendee rather than a panelist. Frank?
Testing, can you guys hear me?
Oh, there he is. Go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Jason Spiegel here, managing partner at Freebie. Do want to clarify just a couple of the points that were just made there. Specifically, number one, on the pricing. Today, the village does pay $553,000 annually, but that also includes a $120,000 advertising credit that is within the contract there. So it is the same exact mechanism, and if we use the same kind of thought process, that means the Freebie contract today is actually $673,000. But again, we provide those guarantees, and even if we don't hit those advertising dollars, the village is still paying the lower of those costs. So I just definitely want to clarify that we work really hard to make sure we provide you guys with the lowest pricing possible. And $530,000 is the ceiling, meaning that once we go over the maximum, the guarantee of both the fair revenue and the advertising revenue, on the fair revenue, the village gets 100% of that. So anything generated over $75,000 is going to continue to deduct off that $530,000, and anything over $60,000 will be split between the village and Freebie. So that's on one piece. On the other, with the vehicle hours, et cetera, there. So today we actually overcompensate with 2 extra vehicles, at our base there, for when, things happen, charging, et cetera, there. We also overcompensate with the amount of hours that we schedule our drivers on a daily and a weekly basis. And the reason we do that is, number one, we deal with humans. And if any business owner out there understands, you are going to have call-outs. Things happen. People get sick, last-minute things. So we try to overcompensate that every single day by providing an hour extra of service and also allowing our drivers to go over their shift times to finish their last rides after midnight, or if their shift is ending during the day there. And to specifically talk about that Friday, unfortunately, we did have a call-out, but we actually we had somebody come in and we only missed 2 hours. And if you look at the hour logs for the entire week, we actually were over 5.6 hours during that entire week last week. And then on the 45-minute wait time, it's unfortunate. We only have a maximum amount of 3 vehicles there in service. Adding more vehicles to the fleet just comes with more cost. And there are high periods of demand, and we try to obviously minimize the wait time as much as possible there. but it's impossible to control a peak hour where you might have 20 requests come in with 3 vehicles on the road. You're only able to accommodate what a fleet of 3 vehicles can do there. So again, we are happy to continue to work with the manager on the contract, on any performance metrics, any reporting metrics. But I promise you, we always have the best interests of the village in mind, and our goal is always to provide the best level of service there. So if any other questions come up, I'm here. I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Jason. All right, is there any other public speakers, Marnie?
No, sir.
All right, very good. Council, any discussion? Go for it, Sharon. I don't have any, I really don't have any discussion at this moment.
Okay, no, I guess I'm going to start. 4 years now, I've been sort of watching Freebie and have a group of people who we've been sort of tracking them, what they do, the complaints, the wait times. From the beginning, we were supposed to get advertising on the vehicles. That's not legal to do. So I don't know where that $60,000 is coming from. It's not legal to advertise on a rideshare car. I don't know if anybody knows that. The $75,000 we're going to get anyhow because that's what we're charging to ride. And even at the $2, which I still don't know how that number came up, it really should have come in front of the council for us to discuss what we wanted to charge, because even at $2 per person per ride, we're still paying, if by the numbers from June the 5th, which we did calculate, and the wait times, 122 rides, it's costing the village, let's see, almost $10 per person without the grant, $5 per person with the grant. So we're still losing money at $2 a ride. Also, I've had a lot of complaints on the wait time. I think everybody has, and I understand it's just 3 vehicles. I don't think anybody on this council has talked to Raymond Freeman from District 6. I know you talked to Dan, because he told me, District 6 about the grant. And the way it was presented at the workshop was, you got this box, you can't go out of the grant. That's not true. As long as we communicate with the grant person, which is Raymond, we can adjust anything we want. And I know you and I, Don, have been on the same page about a van, the van or a trolley, whatever you want to call it. We can adjust right now to putting 2 cars on the road and the van starting to do the loop that we talked about. And it's not, I don't want to get rid of rideshare, that's not, and I have nothing against Freebie at all. Part of the problem for the last years has been our managers and the communication, that there's really been no oversight of Freebie, and there hasn't been. And I've been talking to you about that for over a year, and I'd like to see that change. It says that they meet with the project manager, yet when I was here, nobody knew anything about Freebie. When you and I had that discussion, Ron, that was concerning. And it says that they spend 4 hours a week or a month or something ridiculous working with Freebie, when that's not true either. I don't know who the project manager is here. I personally, again, think whoever sits down and does this contract, whether it be Freebie or Circuit, a lot of things need to be clarified, and it's never been done before. And also, I want you guys to realize that this grant, after 2027, it's gone. There's no more $275,000. He told me, yes, there will be other grants coming down the pike. Whether we qualify for them, nobody knows. But this one here, you get 4 years. This will be our 4th year. We're done. The whole purpose of the grant was for us during this time to figure out how we can support rideshare ourselves, and we haven't done that. And now with DeSantis and the property taxes, that's going to affect us greatly as well. So I talked to John about either if it's Freebie or Circuit, whomever, only doing a 1-year contract. And John, you can use your little fancy words how you explained it to me, but giving us the opportunity, because if this passes in November, this is going to affect the rideshare greatly. And that's $600,000, $500,000, however you want to slice it and dice it. It's going to be a lot of money that we might not be able to support. So whether we do either company, I'm encouraging you guys just to do a year with the option, John, as you said, to have an exit on the second year, because we might not have a grant and we might not have funding for rideshare. And I don't think 600,000, $500,000 is going to make a lot of people happy in this town. And also, Steve, if for the $2 fare that I know you're not happy with, it'll give us a year to see how that works out as well. We may want to adjust it at the end of the year. We may want to change the hours. But personally, for me, I'd like to give Circuit a try. And I know everybody, I'm probably not going to win this battle, but I'd like to see how another company does and see what our options are. So, that's
I got
my
a question. I got a question for you, Vice Mayor. What would it look like having somebody on staff monitor the rideshare? What exactly would they be looking for?
Well, I think, first of all, we have no oversight of really when the vehicles are out. And I know we just picked one day, that's why I got the information from Ron on June the 5th, to know we're getting 3 vehicles, to monitor the wait times, where our needs are, who's riding, what is the most popular areas that are dropped off and picked up. So if we start doing the loop with the van or a trolley or whatever, we know where we should position that. I mean, there seems to be no oversight and no communication, and it's a lot of money.
I mean, we don't have our own transit authority. We don't have, we don't have something that, like the county, that got rid of the whole transit
Which is a
department.
mistake, yeah.
So I mean, if maybe during the contract negotiation, we asked them to report monthly of how many rides they had and how many turndowns they had. I mean, for a company to have a 4.92 satisfaction rate from the customers that are riding it out of 5 is pretty darn good. I think an Uber driver would be happy to have a 4.92 on his stars that he gets. I think it's pretty high on a.
I'm not taking away from the drivers or the service. I'm just saying it is our responsibility to make sure we're doing what's best for the money. And there is nobody on staff right now that works with them or is accountable.
And what would, that's why I'm asking, what would it look like? Are you thinking that we need to assign one of our staff members or have our manager assign a staff member to monitor how many cars are parked there getting charged, or?
We talked about that and who it would fall under, and, he feels certain people have too much on their plate, and I don't know if it would be a staff member or maybe, I don't know how that would look, but I'm just saying, we can do better than what we've been doing, that's all. And we can give back more and not have an hour wait times. I have had my neighbors next door to me tell me, well, they'll call an Uber because it's an hour and a half wait. And I understand there's certain times, I understand how the keys are spread out and it's long and everything. But I think, number one, if you look at the data, that most of the riders are single riders. I think an average ride is 1.25. On that Friday, June the 5th. So it's not really taking a car off the road either.
I agree. I agree with that.
So then why shouldn't we look into using one of the vans as a designated stop at Publix and Alamorada, then Papa Joe's? I don't care where it goes, but we could at least move more people if there were set times than one person in a car. That's all. And that's going to take someone working with somebody. Who and what? Listen, it's just what I.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I've always, for a long time, before I was elected, hoped that there was some way we could come up with a loop transit system for Alamorada. I talked to the previous manager long before I was elected about looking into that, and he didn't, well, it actually goes back 3 managers. They didn't even want to discuss it at all. And I completely agree with you. and you. Freebie is a necessary service, and we saw that last year when we were threatened with maybe getting rid of any kind of ride share, and there were 65 people in the audience saying we depend on that. And of course, the workshop, you know, it only had really 2 riders in there. The rest were drivers and other people that were in there, and then y'all. I was out of the country. I didn't get to come, but I think that the threat of getting rid of that program was, you know, they were pretty vocal about that last year. So I don't think we should get rid of them, and I don't see how. I just don't see how changing companies after 7 years and them having a good satisfaction rating and being scored by the committee and actually being cheaper in a good presentation. And I heard those comments that were made at that workshop about the advertising and how that works and all. And I didn't understand why right now, if there's no charge whatsoever, what's the purpose in having a wallet? There's a purpose in having a wallet once there's a fee involved, but you don't need a wallet. I mean, they've got an app which hails them there, but I completely agree with you that it doesn't take cars off of the road, because it doesn't. You're at home, you could drive your car, or you could call them to go there and pick you up and then take you where you're going and then bring you back. So really, it almost increased by 1. Where if we were able to continue down this road of having a loop transit system, utilizing the old road, figuring out a way to work that out with our comp plan that's being written, and envision something that's constantly doing this and picking people up and keeping them on the old road, maybe we can keep ourselves out of all of the rest of those people that are driving south. But I just don't see changing is going to do anything.
Oh, that's fine.
And if monitoring is, if figuring out how to monitor, maybe that can be part of the contract is that they need to report to the manager on a monthly basis of how many turndowns they had or whatever.
Well, let me just tell you that Danny Iglesias, who you talked to about driverless trolleys, he told me, and then Raymond said something about it to me, and he says to me, you can tell Don that there'll be taxis flying in the air in Miami before you'll see a trolley without a driver in the keys.
Well, it's a trolley cheapens what I want to do, but that's very true. DOT currently is laying out highways in the sky. They're envisioning flying vehicles right there. But for DOT to say that is pretty short-sighted, and it's just these guys that are short-sighted like that because, I mean, I've got a client right now that takes his son up to some special education stuff on the mainland, and he gets in his Tesla and tells his Tesla where to go, and he works on his other business the whole time that doggone car is driving him there. He's like, Don, I never grab the wheel. And so for DOT to say that they aren't going to allow a driverless car is really short-sighted to them. It's an opinion. Yeah. So anyway, Deb?
Well, on that monitoring thing, I thought I'm pretty sure that we're already receiving monthly reports. Maybe they were quarterly reports, not monthly. And if there's more that we want added to that report, I think they'd be more than happy to add to. They have the data, they're getting the data, they're collecting the data. That's how they know where the rides are. That's how we know how much wait times that there are. I just wanted to make sure it was put out there that they are reporting, giving us a report on a monthly basis, right? Yeah.
Okay. Where did that $2 come from? Was that just a number that somebody recommended?
Yeah, we had discussions about what other areas, like I think it was St. Petersburg and others. That's obviously subject to negotiation and the timing of when do you want to implement it, that kind of thing.
Would DOT have a limit on what?
No, I don't think, there's a lot of communication back and forth about what happens to that money. We can't just use it to subsidize and reduce our share. You have to use that additional revenue to expand the service, I think was my interpretation.
It's not to offset the cost of the service?
No. So you have to use those dollars.
We give DOT 50% of it, right?
Yeah, but from DOT's perspective, we have to do our match, but we can't use the revenues. Alyssa, I guess one of the points was, I did assign Alyssa Panzer to be our point person because she's the one that's been going back and forth for months with DOT about our compliance issues with the current grant. But the discussion, to the best of my recollection, is that if we started getting more revenue, we can't just use that to reduce our share. We have to use that in some type of expansion. But going to the point also, I think they've agreed that, because unlike maybe previous managers, I'm 1,000% in favor of the multi-passenger thing. And we've said, well, maybe we can use those dollars to expand the current service, not reduce rideshare, but to expand the types of vehicles we use for multi-passenger. So we still would have point-to-point, maybe person-to-person, because that's just the way it is, but then add those dollars to a multi-passenger loop service to do that, which accomplishes the purpose I think all of us want, was to take vehicles off the highway. But it got really complicated with what we could actually do with those fares. As far as the dollar amount, I think we could probably go up or down or whatever on those. Those are just kind of what we thought, in talking to other jurisdictions, was a logical place to start. Because when you go from zero to anything, you're going to get some pushback. Yeah, because like even the name freebie, what will be it's still freebie?
Right.
Yeah, it's not really free. But I think that's something that we can negotiate in the contract, and I'll reach out to whoever gets the contract. The vice mayor and I've talked to Richard Clark, for example. We have some people that are experts in the field that I'd be more than willing to reach out and get any input they may have on it.
Thank you. Deb? You
So that, well, the $2 actually came out of the county program through Richard Clark. That was his thought pattern of what they were going to do on their end. And then all that got dropped because they completely eliminated it. But the $2 wasn't just pulled out of the air in Islamorada. It did come out of the county idea. And I was under a different impression about the ride fare dollars. I understood that we had to share them with the state, with DOT. It was half and half. We reduced theirs and we reduced ours, but it got very complicated, and so I will not live or die on that statement.
So it ends up being roughly if it's $2, it's $80 a month for somebody to ride it 5 days a week, 4 weeks out of the month.
Yeah.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And many of the people that are riding it because they can't afford to have a car, trying to get back and forth to work. There is percentages that we're getting off of the basis of this, but there's percentages of the ridership is like 55% of the residents are riding,
Okay.
and that's a year round. It fluctuates on the particular month. When we have more visitors, that goes up, but in the months that we have less visitors, it goes more to the residents' side as a percentage.
Peter, I got a question for you, if you could jump up to the microphone. You can't jump, just mosey up to the microphone. Is there a downside to doing a one-year contract with them? Does it affect this proposal in any way?
No.
But didn't I hear
No
him
downside.
say that we have a right to cancel out of convenience? So he did say
do.
that. I think I heard that a couple of
Yeah.
times because I watched that workshop, I know 3 times. And it seemed like he said that several times. And that's the term he used, a right of convenience to cancel. Your mic, Mike.
Sorry. So if we lost the grant, that gave us an out to get out of that contract.
Okay.
So I got a question though. Since there's multiple discussions going on here, Freebie has all the data, right? So they know the stops, they know the peak hours, they know everything that is going on. So would it be possible, and this is obviously a question for them, but could we take that information and keep the 2 cars running point to point, whatever, but use that information to take the van and use the van for maybe the peak days, which I'm going to assume is probably Friday, Saturday type thing, and use the van those days for the loop. Say it's going to go to Papa Joe's at this time, and then it ends up here, and then it goes to Founders, it goes to Publix, it goes to Founders, whatever those stops, whatever the most popular stops are, the peak times, so that you could do the multi-passenger, so people could know that, hey, on Friday at noon, I can go to Publix on the van.
It might be a little premature, but I think Ron and I have had discussion with Jennifer about looking to see where there might be some niche parking spots. I and Ron have had, and Jennifer has had conversations with DOT to see if we can acquire those excess pieces of property that DOT has that we can then turn into niche parking areas so that this thing has a little bit, has a place to stop.
Right.
So that somebody could know that the transit system is going to be here at a certain time, and as long as it's clean and timely and run the right way, then we can our citizens can rely on that.
Right, that's
And
what I'm saying,
and
though.
park off of the
Why
old
not
road.
use that?
So
Yes, Deb.
well, I didn't want to cut her thought off.
No, go ahead.
I suggested that we're allotted so many hours per week, but it was supposed to be spread from 7 a.m. to midnight, 3 cars. And so that implies a balanced
Is that
schedule.
something that would happen during
I
contract
would-
negotiations then?
No, I think part of this has to be approved through DOT, but I don't think it's a hard approval. I think it's an easy approval. What I'm suggesting,
Yeah.
but what I'm suggesting is that we have this block of hours that currently says, okay, it has to be flat. That they, whoever they are, is given the block of hours, and you can run 5 cars in the morning and 1 car in the afternoon and 3 cars at night, whatever they see that they need for that traffic. Currently, that's not the way the contract is written, the grant is written, but it could be changed. DOT's not easy to work with, but it could be changed. And I think that would help solve some of those problems.
Okay, so I kind of like the idea still of the 2-year contract, just so that people have some stability, especially if it can be canceled by convenience. But I think we have our work cut out for us to try to transition this into something that is different, looks different, that'll work for us. I mean, the staff has scored them and based off of the merits, and we've heard the presentations, and it doesn't sound like anybody's like against having this contract done. It's just a matter of there's some tweaking that needs to be done, right? Is that what I'm hearing? All right. Steve?
Yeah, I just want to point out that I think this is great that we have 2 very credible proposals here. I think this is something necessary and needed in this village. There are many comparable cities that have some sort of free rideshare service, and I think it's a great service that we can point to directly to the citizens of Islamorada in terms of some of the benefits that they can enjoy. So I'm glad that we're having this discussion. I'm glad that we're going to make a decision on continuing to do a rideshare. I have no arguments against anything that anybody said tonight. Sharon, my point on $2 is I think that rides will go down, even though it's only $2. That may be unavoidable. We can also tweak that as we're talking about doing this. Whoever we go with, I would like to see that be fluid, where we can make some minor modifications and improvements along the way, rather than waiting for contracts to be renewed. So I said also I agreed that we need some more oversight. I think that I mentioned that in Ron and our briefing, that it would be good. Unfortunately, it adds more staff time, but I think that that's something that we can do to make sure that they're upholding what they're saying in the contract, that they're they're utilizing their time as efficiently as possible. And we need to expand it, I think. I think this is not enough, not nearly enough in terms of what's required with the traffic situations to really alleviate any sort of traffic problems with this. I think it's just really a benefit for people, for the workforce, and for people to get their groceries done, get to their medical appointments, so on and so forth. So as far as which one, Sharon, I'm kind of with you. I don't mind seeing a new vendor come in and starting anew. So really, to me, it's whoever we can work with the best that's going to work with our staff to do the best for our constituents.
Yeah, well, I think that really our staff did the dirty work for us, is they actually went through and reviewed both of the applications, scored the applications. I don't think that there was any biased one way or the other by our staff. I don't know there would be. I think they looked at it like they look at, all applications that they're going through and scored them. Who was on the committee, by the way?
You want the names?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that was Maria Baggiati, Jennifer DeBoberan, Sheila Denoncourt, myself, and Hattie Jenkins.
Okay, so you changed it up a little, because sometimes Maria's not on there and AJ is on there, and so you.
Yeah, it was Ron.
Okay.
You wanted department heads there, and it was a good mix.
I think
it was
so.
it was a great committee. I mean, I sit on these. I thought it was an excellent
Good.
committee.
Yeah, and everybody that's got a finger on that, yes?
Just curiosity, how does the $2 get collected? Is that just from your app? You have to have a credit card or a debit card on there so people can't pay with cash if they have an issue with their credit card or
Yeah,
something?
cash would be terrible.
No cash.
And that's another thing I think that's interesting that I think both proposals offered to do is that I think there are creative ways that we can do that, whether a resort maybe pays a certain amount of fees or their codes or something like that.
That'd be great.
Someone stranded on the road, lost their phone, credit card or something like that. I think that's what I'm looking for in both these proposals.
Okay, Sharon?
I know that Judy Hull does a great job at the chamber, but these hotels have maybe a vehicle. So when somebody wants to go to Ziggy's or go to Papa Joe's, and you have how many hotel rooms, trust me, I'm on Islanders property a lot, and freebies in and out of there a
Yeah.
lot. So, and again, I've already talked to the owners of the Islander, and they'd be more than willing to. We had talked about a program where the hotels will buy 1,000 passes or something, and when people stay there, here's your hotel key, here's a layout of the property, and here's a couple rides on us. So we can get the hotels to, and that's what we're supposed to be doing with this grant. We're supposed to be figuring out a way where when this grant goes away, it can
We're
sustain
self-sustaining,
itself. And
which would be great for our
And again, it's not just
transportation.
100%, and
Yeah.
we're not doing that right
Yeah,
now.
which we need to start.
And that's why I've had conversations with the DOT quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
And we can go to Chica and the Islander and these places and get them to put in some. And yes, they do have their own vehicles, but not enough to move everybody around.
Well,
So-
it sounds to me like we need to get our lobbyists busy at the state
Yeah.
level and at the federal level. I know at federal level, we've got some interest from our congressmen. I know at the state level, we've talked to our lobbyists there, and we need to get our legislators to help us. And I think between the feds and the state, and maybe, I don't know, it's up to y'all. I can envision if we only have a year if we only do the contract for a year, then that kind of puts us under the gun to get something else done and really work hard with the state and the feds and see if there's something to be done. But I see the stability in the 2 years, and if there's a canceled by convenience clause in there, then
And
it doesn't hurt to have 2 years.
And if we get it done early, then we have the cancel by
Right.
convenience
Yeah,
clause.
right.
Or they may be the one that expands the service.
Yeah.
We don't know where that is. We don't know what that work looks like yet. We know what we want.
Yeah.
We don't know
But we
all
talk
the
a lot,
details.
talk a lot about this rideshare stuff, and last year we got beat up over it pretty bad, and And as a new council, we had to make a pretty quick decision because something was about to cancel.
I think it's very important for a lot of people who, I think I already said this, that they're riding it to work. They're riding it to work because they don't have a car.
And that's
And they're going to the grocery because they don't have a car. They don't have the money that it takes these days for the insurance and everything else, the gas, everything.
Yeah.
So that helps solve some of that inflationary problem for our residents. Certain group of residents. We have others that they don't need it, but they use it.
Yep.
They don't
Steve,
need
your
it.
mic's on.
Yeah, just before we move to a vote, John, I'm just, again, for clarity's sake, this is written, the resolution is written as accepting Freebie's proposal. Should we decide with the other vendor, how does that work with this vote?
So if you wanted to go with the other vendor, it would be a motion to approve with the amendment to select Circuit in place of the Circuit proposal in place of Freebie, or Be Free, sorry.
With 7 years of history, with the listening to those drivers that were here during the workshop, which their important input is part of that workshop as well. And there were 3 drivers there concerned about their jobs. And there's been consistency. There's not really any bad complaints that I've seen on Freebie. So I think we ought to stick with staff recommendation. I think that, but that's just me.
Are you ready?
If y'all are done, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the recommendation of staff of the ranking and authorizing the manager to negotiate contracts.
There's a motion on the table. Is there?
It would be approve the resolution as written?
Yes.
As written. Okay.
Yes.
There's a motion on it.
I thought that's what I heard.
Is there a
but
second?
Maybe not.
I'll second.
Go ahead. Boy, that was at the same time.
Either
We're going
way.
to draw lots. No, let's do. Who wants it?
Don't matter.
Green's on.
Green's on. Okay, Anna's
Good.
got the second.
Okay, Councilmember Deb Gillis,
Yes.
Councilmember Anna Richards.
Yes.
Councilmember Steve Friedman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sharon Mahoney,
Even though I know I lost, I'm going to say no.
No, stand
and
your
Mayor
ground.
Don Horton.
It's not a loss ever. Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, let's see. Wow. I think that's it. Is there anything else that we need to discuss tonight?
Can I say one thing?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
think the first quasi judicial, they had a very good point, or someone did, about if you are on B-Pass and you sell your property, something we should think about. Is it fair for that person to not sit there for 4 years, like this guy just bought his property in 2025? And because
How many more allocations do we have?
5 after
Five.
the one that we awarded tonight.
We have 5 left.
Yeah.
So, we've been operating under this same assumption.
I know, but it's
since
something to
beginning.
think about.
But we do have the 76 that are coming our way. 72. I want more,
But
4
they're
more.
not,
I'll also mention that we do still have Senate Bill 180 out there. And
yeah.
that would be considered a
more onerous.
depending on how it's written, but I cannot imagine a way it wouldn't be considered a more onerous or a restriction or additional hurdle
Yeah.
in our land development
Yeah.
codes. So when that goes away,
Right.
So
fingers
the-
crossed, then,
the 72 that we're getting, we don't know a lot of details yet. We have to decide some of that ourselves. But
Right.
at this point, none of them would be administrative relief because those come through DEO differently,
We
correct?
don't know when we're getting.
No, those come when an allocation is awarded to somebody, but they don't pick up their building permit. The way our code is written, then those go into administrative relief. In Islamorada, that's the way
We haven't
it's-
had any in years,
a long
right?
while.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully
So,
we can get the
but
comp plan
what,
written.
what I was saying is that the 72, we're still going to have administrative reliefs. So we're going to have to rely on other methods, such as more points or purchasing of land, or maybe getting more creative with some other idea. But because we're still going to have administrative reliefs. There's no, unless
Hopefully
we
that's,
eliminate
well, I
that.
mean, that's something that Jennifer's going to be having to
Right.
work on along with
Exactly.
all of the other legislation that, because it's going to require comp plan and LDRs and all of that. So this conversation kind of helps her understand what to look for when she starts writing that. Hopefully that sooner than later.
And also, we do still have administrative relief avenue open, even if we don't have allocations. So somebody could still apply, and maybe they're interested in selling it for fair market value. Or I know historically, there have been times where the village has granted some additional points because of the time spent on the BPAS list. That falls under kind of that catch-all. It's been, I know that predates me. I know we haven't done it since I've been here, but the village has done that. So there is still the administrative relief that will be available. But if we don't have allocations, it may look like a different, come
Okay,
in a
so
different form too.
can we take the time to envision that real quick? So we've got 5 allocations left, and how many people do we have in the queue?
In the total BPAS
Yeah,
list?
in the queue, on the BPAS
37, I
list.
believe.
37.
I believe, yeah.
Okay, and so we're going to have more people coming to us next meeting or meeting after or whatever that are going to be asking for administrative relief. When those 4 are gone, 5 gone, whatever the number is, when those are gone, people are still going to be coming to us for administrative relief. At that point, we're going to say we have no other permits. So is there something else to defer until the new plan is written?
I mean, it could be to, I mean, I guess when you say defer until the new plan is written, you mean when we get the new allocations from the state?
When we get the new allocation, but those are going to fall under all new regulations and all new guidelines, and it's supposed to be, people that are employed, a local preference, or people that are employed, within Islamorada or within a certain area. I actually wrote my ideas and gave them to Jennifer is people that were employed within the 50 or 60 mile marker to the 102 mile marker, because there's a lot of people that work for the hospital or the co-op or whatever that still are a benefit to Islamorada, not just working inside Islamorada. So what I envisioned was maybe completely different than what Jennifer did, but I at least wanted to get something in writing to see how that would work.
So, yeah, we could say, like we talked about, you'll remain on the BPAS list, and we will be getting these additional allocations, and, we can give you 4 points and move you up so that you're higher up on the list to recognize.
But what are those points going to do if the point system to get through the 74 are completely different, 72,
Well,
76?
we'll have to.
Every time you mention it, it's a different number.
We'll put those other 4 into administrative relief.
Absolutely.
So we'll have to analyze that. So the points might, 4 points might be nothing. 4 points. I mean, I just throw that number. It could be 1, it could be 2. That might be nothing. It might be a huge step. We won't know that until we get those guidelines.
Well, we
also
kind of
could
need to
offer.
start thinking about that, because a couple more of our meetings on here, we're going to be out.
Yeah, and we could offer them, we do have affordable allocations. I mean, it might not be something they want, but that's something we could offer them. We can't give you market rate, but we can offer to, keep you on the list until we get this, or if you want to do something immediately, we can offer you affordable units to put, assuming that they're available to go in that location. So there are options that we have at our disposal there, but they're not, I guess, what people are used to. Most people are used to coming and you get an allocation because we've had them and we've had a wealth of them up until this point.
Jennifer, did our past planning directors keep real good track of those units that the village owned that went away?
I would say no to that. Yeah,
You're gonna say no to that?
Yeah.
So maybe we ought to, because I still believe there are still unaccounted for transfer development rights that the village owns.
I'm aware of, I shouldn't say I know of, I'm aware of at least 2 that the village owns that are sort of there.
What happened to the hotel units that we're building, currently building the marvelous generator building? What happened to the hotel units that were there?
Those I'm not aware of. I can try to dig into where those are.
Is that the same building that with the sewer?
Yes, where the sewer treatment area
Yeah,
is,
that's
yes.
been there for a few years now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, as far as I know, they're just out there somewhere. There
Yeah.
was like 8 or 10
Yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Yeah, but they aren't residential. They are
They're hotel.
commercial.
Yeah,
They're
hotel would be different than
transient.
residential. If they're hotel, they're transient.
They're not.
I mean, they're still valuable, but they're transient.
Okay.
I just, as part of this conversation, just want to keep everybody informed, you know, myself and staff, we are considering these things. We're not just sitting around doing nothing. And so we are, you know, talking about some of these things and having these conversations in-house so that we can come back to you guys, you know, with a thoughtful discussion about where to take some of these ideas. We are planning to restructure the BPAS scoring system for the new 72. So there'll be some suggestions that we're going to make, that we're going to bring to you, and some ideas that we have. So I'm on vacation in July. Probably right after that, I'll probably work with Ron on scheduling a workshop on having some conversations about this so that we can narrow down some of these things, and then work towards making some code and comp plan changes for this.
In the end, hopefully the goal would be by the first of the year, we'd have figured out how to use the 72.
That's the goal, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, John?
And I'd say if we have some transient units that we have never used or allocated anywhere, one option, if it's the will, or if the council would be interested, or, you know, we could also explore maybe potentially swapping them for market rate, because maybe there might be some hotels that would like to add a couple units, and they might have, who knows, maybe they have the ability to access some market rate. And I mean, it's just you know, as it came out, I wanted to throw it out there as something for the council to chew on, if
Well,
that
the
might be of
interesting thing
interest.
about that hotel is the hotel was torn down before the village changed the regulations on what dwelling units are. And the hotels, so back then, hotels were considered equivalent of dwelling units. That's why those condos got to be built across from Robbie's, from that hotel, because they looked at them the same way. It's the same way as the Islander units that are on the bay there.
They were the last ones.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. They were the last ones
They were
to
the
be
last
built.
ones,
Yeah,
right.
the one across from Robbie's.
Yes.
That was the
Yeah.
last,
And actually, he had
and
to
they
sue-
went back and forth.
They had to sue to get that.
Yeah, but they also had some extras, and they went back and forth of whether they could use them as transients or residents.
they sold them as
And the village finally said, just tell us how you want to use them, and because you were the last one in the line,
Yeah.
we'll let you use them the way you want them, but you got to tell us. You can't change your mind every week.
All right.
So-
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like first step, we can look to see if we have these, you know, if they've been allocated or sold or transferred, and if they are, we can come back and you know, see if there's any options that you all might like, might interest the council as to what to do with those.
Okay. All right, is there anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn, or you want to talk about something else? I know, we can sit here the rest of the
Motion to adjourn.
Here's a motion to adjourn. Okay, we're out of here. Meeting's adjourned.